feel free to tell us everything that passes in your mind about this edition of Mojocon.
So we're not too far from the end now. I think it's been the most successful one so far. The feedback from the delegates has been really, really positive. I think the sessions were very well received. I'm delighted with the number of exhibitors that came this year. And I also think that one of the core reasons we came to Galway, which was the networking side and to help to build that community, I think that has been quite successful. So I'm delighted. I'm delighted that people have enjoyed it, and I look forward now to see what happens next. Yeah, I think each one of the three conferences have had a very clear identity, actually. The first one was the shiny new thing, did you know you could do this? Last year it was kind of a stage where it was starting to feel like it was maturing. You know, we were getting more high-end apps, we were getting more high-end accessories. Yeah, this year I think the term consolidation is probably a good one. I think the case studies that we've seen on stage have been more ambitious, and I think that's a clear indication that this as a platform has come to maturity and is now a de facto part of everyday journalism.
I think the most interesting sentence that I achieved here is Mojo is a state of mind, it's not an iPhone.
Yeah.
And how can I, because I'm the first, but we Italians can come in this culture, because Italy is definitely one of the most hard-rated, the most unprepared countries about Mojo.
I'm not going to lie to you, okay? Mojo was 10 years old, okay? You know, from the very early evolution of it, it took a long time to convince people about the quality, and just some people inherently are more prepared to take risks than others. So it's not a surprise that Italy and many other countries are still at the stage where they're experimenting but haven't really fully adopted or committed to this idea. I mean, the US is substantially behind Europe in general in this space as well, so you're not alone. What I think you need to do if you want to try and help its development in Italy is you need a good case study, you need a good community, because that's, you know, how Mojocon was born. It was born to bring people together. The idea was to create an environment for people to share what they do so they could learn from each other. I think something similar, whether it's an Italian Facebook group that you do, or whether you decide to do meetups, you know, all those things help to start to bring people who are interested and intrigued about the overall movement together so they can learn from each other. And then they, by default, become ambassadors and teach more people, and it starts to ripple and gradually gain momentum.
And how can we convince the publisher that have in their mind Mojo tricks, Mojo stuff, low quality?
Okay, so can I ask you, is the publisher a newspaper platform, an online platform, a radio station, or a TV station, or all of them?
All type of them.
Okay, so in a pecking order,
yeah,
the hardest people to actually convince are TV stations. And the reason for that is that they have millions of euros of infrastructure and huge 70,000 euro cameras and sat trucks and all that stuff. And when you say, like, you shoot and like an edit and like in live stream with one of these, they kind of go, it's like comparing a push bike to a Ferrari. Yeah. But the bottom line is that no matter what part of the world you're in, there is a common thread starting to develop in traditional linear television. And that is, whether you like it or not, or even if you want to admit it or not, audience are slowly beginning to decline. And we're now going into a phase, moving into the adoption of 5G in the next 3 years, where that acceleration, or that movement, if you like, is likely to accelerate, because more people will have much faster access to really good quality content on their phone. And then there's another driving force as well, which is many broadcasters around the world are still in the HD space. Mobile phones are already fully 4K capable to shoot, edit, share in that way. And it's the big platforms like YouTube and Vimeo who have become the platforms you can now share that new 4K content on. And many of those have apps for smart TVs. So effectively what you have is a Mojo ecosystem that bypasses the television broadcaster and can still deliver in ultra high quality to the end user. So if you're a broadcaster and you're not willing to at least experiment and see if you can innovate in this space, you risk becoming completely irrelevant. You'll be just leapfrogged by YouTube and I'm sure eventually Facebook. So, you know, you need to do it not because it's a way of saving money, you need to do it because it's a way of surviving.
Yeah.
So you'll generally find that newspapers and websites and online platforms and so on are far more willing to adopt this technology because they don't have the millions of euros of legacy infrastructure. And so they have less to lose and a hell of a lot more to gain. The paradox is that it's actually the people who have most to lose, the broadcasters, who are actually refusing to adopt the life-saving opportunity that's being presented to them. And I think ultimately, again, a thread of Mojocon is having the likes of BBC and NRK and Al Jazeera and these big international brands coming here to say, we do this because we can see where this is going to go. I think that helps an awful lot in the leverage for other broadcasters who are a bit more conservative, a bit more reticent to try new things.
How will it go for the future of Mojocon in general, you know?
There is no official line on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so all I can tell you is what my own personal feeling on it is. RT is going through a process right now where the organization is going through some pretty radical restructuring. RT has announced publicly that they're going to sell off half the land that they own in the hope that they can raise some capital investment. The Director General has said that the plan is to look for 250, possibly 300 staff redundancies. In a time when the organization is refocusing on what its core activities are and shrinking down to make it more lean and agile, there is a risk that Mojocon would be seen as a fringe activity, as a kind of a, you know, nice to have but not an essential.
Recreation.
Kind of, yeah. You know, I mean, it's great PR, but so what? But my own personal take on this is that I've invested a huge amount of my life over the last 3 years in bringing Mojocon into existence and making it, you know, come back. If it gets to the point where RT decide definitively that they are killing Mojocon, then I will do an independent, I'll leave RT and I will do an independent version of it.
And we will be by your side.
Well, then, I'm delighted to hear that. I'm delighted to hear that.
Thank you.